all finished out. This is what it looks like. And I've got my boards here for the blank laid out. They're not glued up or anything, but I'm just going to lay this on there and trace out where I want it to go so I know where to put my splines. And I've got a center line on my pattern, and I've got a center line on the blank. And I'm going to line that up, and the center line just gives me a point of reference, so when I'm installing this, I can center it over the fireplace, and it gives me a nice point of reference. So I'm just going to make sure it's the same, 3/4 of an inch from the bottom of that joint, and it is, and I'm on the center line. So I'm just going to trace this onto here. So now I've got these splines cut that we planed down earlier, and they're just going to go right over that joint like that. Now, off the planer, they're usually a little bit tight, and that's what I want. I want it to be a little bit tight, and then I can take it down. I just use a sanding block, some 80 grit paper, and shave a little bit off. Just a little more on the other side. Alright, that's good. That goes in. It's still pretty firm. And the important thing about this is you'll notice the grain of the spline is going this way. If the grain was going this way, it could snap in half and this could just break right off, so it wouldn't be very strong. So I've got the grain running this way, so that'll make a nice strong connection, and it will also hide the spline in there, make it almost invisible once we're done. So now we can go ahead and glue it up. And you might be wondering how we're going to glue this up. I like to use just a simple glue brush, but it's kind of long, so I always trim it off with my chisel on a scrap. Alright, that's a little better. So we're going to use these pinch dogs right here, and they're going to draw this joint together, and this is the back side, okay? So whatever I do back here won't be seen. So we'll start gluing this up. Put a little glue in the groove. Spread it out, work it down in there. And a little glue here on the surface of the miter. Slide that in there. So some of my favorite tools are the simplest, and this is one of them, a pinch dog. It's just got some wedge-shaped teeth on there. I'm going to straddle this right over this glue joint here. And as I drive it down, it's going to suck these parts together. That set overnight, and then we can put the pattern on it and cut it to size. All right, so this is dried overnight. The pinch dogs are still in here, as you can see. I'm gonna go ahead and take them out with this hammer. Just pry them out. See here, now the joint is holding together. You can see the line I've traced here. And I'm going to go to my bandsaw and I'm going to cut within about a 1/16 or so of that line. And then we'll put the pattern on there, go over to the router table, and route it flush with the pattern. Now I'm going to drill some holes through this pattern so we can countersink some screws down into this trim. So I've still got the center line on my trim. You can see here, and I've got center line on my pattern. I'm going to line those up and line up with the pencil marks. Screw it down. Now we'll take it over to the router table, route it flush with the pattern. I want to show you a close-up of the setup at the router table. You'll notice the MDF pattern is on the top, the cherries on the bottom. The bearings on the top of the router bit will ride along the MDF pattern, cutting the cherry underneath to the exact profile arch of the pattern. So that's the setup there. That's another white side bit. That is a spiral flush trimming bit, and it cuts really cleanly, so there's not a lot of chip out or a lot of sanding to do. You can see it's very smooth with the MDF, and I'm going to leave this pattern screwed on here. So I'll sand the face, I'll profile it with a router bit, give it a nice round over, and I'll even finish it hooked onto this pattern. That's going to support this, and also during transport to the job site. Then I'll take this pattern off, I'll cut my angles and fasten it to the fireplace. So I hope you have got something out of this little tutorial on making arched moldings, or any kind of a curved piece that you need for your woodwork. This is one way to do it. Other ways are steam bending and also vacuum pressing, which hopefully we can show you some of that later on. So thanks for watching.